What's up, world? This is your boy E, and we're back at it again with another video. Man, have you ever been stuck in traffic? I mean, of course, we've all been stuck in traffic, but I'm talking about when you got your GPS on and it's telling you to go straight, but then you're like, how can I go straight when there's all these cars ahead? And so you're hoping that it's going to redirect you, but it doesn't redirect you. It keeps telling you to go straight. But then you notice to your right, there's all these cars that are passing you. And you're like, why are they passing me? I don't understand. They keep passing you, and you realize that they're taking the off-ramp. And you're like, okay, they're passing me because they're taking the off-ramp. And so what do? You take the off-ramp too. And so you take the off-ramp, and then you get off on the off-ramp, and then you're going straight, only to realize there's a roadblock ahead. So now you got to take a detour and go all the way back around to get back in the same traffic that you were trying to avoid in the first place. Man, we've all been there. And what I want to talk to you about today is following the right path. Following the right path. Proverbs 16:25 says that there's a way that seems right to a man, but in the end, it leads to destruction. That in the end, that everything is going to go bad for you. And when I think about the path of life, man, there's so many people who seem like they're on the right path, but in the end, it leads to destruction for them. I mean, they may have the Twitter followers, they may have the money, they may have the fame, they may have the success, they may have the Instagram followers, man, they may have all these women. I mean, everything may seem to be going right, but at the end of their life, it doesn't go right. One person that I think about in particular is Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner, the Playboy man himself who founded Playboy and the Empire and all those things, like he seemed like he had it all. I mean, he had the women. I mean, matter of fact, he said he slept with hundreds of women. He had the money. I mean, he was a millionaire. He had the cars. He had everything that a man in his carnal desires would want. But ultimately, what was sad about the whole scenario and just his life is that his life really impacted people for the negative. I mean, think about all the marriages that were impacted by pornography. Think about all the women that he slept with who were damaged and felt like they were just being used for his own personal gratification and were looked at as just sexual objects, but not beings created and made in the image of God. And his example, his legacy is still reaping bad fruit to this day. And at the end of his life, all those women that he slept with, they weren't there by his bedside. They were somewhere else. And so even though that way may have seemed right, even though that life may have seemed good for a little bit, ultimately it ended up bad. And I think about another person who took the good path, who took a better path, and his name is Billy Graham. And you think about Billy Graham modeled Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, it says, trust in the Lord, not trust in yourself, but trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean to your own understanding. Don't lean on your own understanding, but lean on God's understanding, and He will direct your path. Seek His will, not your own will, in all that you do, and He will show you what path you should take. And so Billy Graham gave his life to Christ. He gave his life to God and followed God. And as a result, even though he didn't have all the millions like Hugh Hefner did, even though he didn't have all the women, he was faithful to one woman. He was faithful to his wife. He was faithful to his children. And he was able to make an impact on earth to where he was even honored by multiple presidents and make an impact in heaven to where he saved thousands of souls for the glory of God. That his life was a life well lived, that he left an eternal legacy. It reminds me of the quote by Marcus Aurelius that says, men, what we do in this life echoes in the realms of eternity. And his life did that. And so I know that the path of following Christ may not be easy. Matter of fact, Christ promises suffering. He promises that we will experience pain when we follow Him. That if we take up our cross and deny ourselves, then ultimately there's life when we follow Him. There's joy when we follow Him. There's pleasure when we follow Him. And ultimately, He promises never to leave or forsake us, and that He will give us the power of His Holy Spirit to help us overcome the obstacles that we have in life. And on top of that, He promises peace that surpasses all understanding. And so I want to encourage you today to follow His path, to listen to him, because like Waze, he already knows the potholes. He already knows the accidents that are ahead. He already knows the objects that are on the road to block your path, and he can reroute you. He can reorient that thing. He's omniscient. He's all powerful, and he wants to work mightily in your life. Put your life in his hands, because he will direct you. He will give you what you need to make sure that your life is not wasted, but that it's lived in a way that's honoring unto him, and that's also best for you, and that's also best for others. So follow his path. Man, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Feel free to share it. Feel free to comment on it, like or subscribe. I would love to get your feedback from that. But thank you so much for watching, and hope you guys have a great rest of the week. All right, peace.